Good evening. This is the our October meeting of the Norwalk Parking Authority. And as usual, our first item on the agenda is public input. And if there are people from the public to speak, would you please hold your remarks to 3 minutes? And so that if there are others, they can participate as well. And then also, please remember that this period in the agenda is not a dialogue necessarily between whoever would be speaking and the board, but we will take the comments under consideration and deal with them in appropriate manners. If there's anyone from the public, we can hear them.
No one signed off, so there's no one, but I do have an email that they would like me to read into record, if that's okay, Chairman.
Please, yes.
Good evening, Parking Authority Board, city staff, and Mayor Rilling. Due to a prior commitment, I'm unable to attend this evening's Parking Authority meeting. However, I would like the following added to the record under your public comment segment of the agenda. The East Norwalk Neighborhood Association respectfully requests you reconsider the board decision not to provide free weekend parking in commuter and neighborhood lots citywide. As you know, many of these lots, including at least 6 in East Norwalk proper, are underutilized by commuters from Friday evening, 6 p.m. through Sunday. Yet these same lots would be beneficial for supporting our local retail, restaurant, food, and service businesses. In some cases, they would also help alleviate overflow residential parking in areas that have weekend city, civic, social, and religious organization activities. At the very least, residents would be interested in understanding exactly why the board is opposed to free parking, especially as there doesn't seem to be any analysis on file that would support this decision. And also because there is already free parking on Sundays, metered streets, it is entirely possible that a financial analysis of the revenue and expenses from these lots would uncover not only a very minimal loss of revenue, but could likely conclude there would be a savings due to reduced enforcement hours. Since the city is staffed to the authority, we are requesting an independent review by TMP and the finance department of the Friday to Sunday cost revenue associated with commuter and neighborhood lots that are currently under the pay to park system, including at least Liberty Square, Veterans Memorial Park, 180 East Avenue, former Hojo's, East Norwalk Station, East Ave North, 4 Point, and East Avenue South. It is our hope, and we have heard the hope of many Norwalk businesses and residents, that you will reconsider the current policy and consider solutions that allow for adequate turnover, but be a win-win for residents, visitors, the city, and the authority. Sincerely, Diane CC, ENNA Board. That's the only item I have for reread it.
Thank you, Brian. The item 2 on the agenda would be to discuss and accept the minutes from the last meeting.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as submitted. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Matt. Any second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Peter. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Carries. Thank you. So Rocky, this is you, right? No, Brian, this is you.
So for the engineering and project report, I have a few updates on both projects that are happening here at Yankee Doodle Garage. The first one is the concrete repairs. Wanted to follow up on Vice Chair's Seebeck's question on the warranty or maintenance plan that we are going to have after the repairs are done. Just want everyone to know that there is a 5-year warranty on the product that that they put down. There should be minimum wear and tear considering the location of where the product is laid, all the sealant. So it's not going to be normal wear and tear that we would have if it was in the drive lane. So we're going to add it to our regular maintenance review every week, and if anything happens to it, we can give GL Composite a call, the contractor who's doing the work, and they can address it, similar to what we do at Haviland. And then the other update on that part is the project's running very smoothly still. It's almost completed. And then the next part of the improvements to the garage is the next item, which is the aesthetic enhancement at Yankee Doodle. The bid opened last week, but unfortunately, we didn't receive any bids. We're now collaborating with THA, who was the designer for the plan, to come up with alternative solutions. Once we have a clear understanding, we'll coordinate with purchasing and go out to bid. We'll keep the commission updated as we go forward with that. And,
If I can, so one of the things that we do in these situations where, we don't see responses. We look at the people who have pulled the application, so pulled the notice, right? And, we look to see who is familiar with, maybe some of those accounts, whether it's a consultant, whether it's city staff, right? You make phone calls to understand, why did you look at the bid but not produce a bid? So we're going through that. Sometimes it's clarification, misunderstanding. I think we're also gonna look at, should we look at, parsing it out? We always believe that we would get the best price if we moved it under one contractor. But we also want to make sure that our notice is clear that this is a parking authority funded project and not a grant funded project. And I say that because, when you have a lot of subs to get a job done, if it is grant funded project, grants require a lot more work, whether it's a DBA or, so sometimes it will deter someone when they have to do a lot of subs to get a job done. So we'll look at those and look if there's any ways that we could do that. We'll get it out again in short order.
So is it possible that if there were contractors who expressed interest, they would look at it as it currently stands, or is it gonna be broken apart regardless?
Well, I think we want to try to get some information from the people who responded and like, what were the challenges that prevented you? Would we see a benefit if we, if we parsed it out to do it? Or was it just language clarification that we missed, that sometimes something gets, we think that it's clear, right? Because we've written it, right? And sometimes it doesn't come across. So we want to make sure that. And then I think we also want to work with our purchasing department to understand what level of outreach purchasing could have with broadening the number of people who are actually seeing the post.
And when were those bids supposed to be back by?
The bid opening was last week, so it was out for 3 weeks, which is our typical bid period.
So it just ended.
So it just ended. So it just ended. We went upstairs, very excited to have the bid opening, and was very disappointed when there was actually none. So we are diligently working at doing that, because we also believe that getting the best prices, this is a great time.
And nobody said anything, obviously. None of the people that were bidding said anything at all. Okay.
So we're gonna do some reach out to them and gather some information, but we started a little bit, but we want to have a little bit more of information to make sure that we have some level of consistency in what's happening.
Good, thank you. Matt, did that address your point?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. The financial.
Just before Rocky gets into the finances, just wanted to give a couple operational updates. YMCA lot, we talked about a little bit last month for the construction company that was utilizing some of the spaces. We have, a couple things. So we had an issue with the trees and making sure the trees were protected. So I'm coordinating with the city's arborist to take a look at the trees and the property, just to ensure that they're being taken care of, and whatever we can do to try to do our best to protect them, we're gonna put into action. We're currently working with a project manager for RMS Corp. That's the construction company that's doing the work. We just got an agreement with them that has them agreeing to reapplying asphalt to the lot after they're done. and also to repair any damages that might happen when they're using the
What
area.
about striping?
Did we talk about striping? I don't think we asked for some, did we? We did. We did, all right, good.
Good.
So after they're done, we should, the property should look good, and it goes with any type of damage that's gonna happen.
So separate from all that, I would imagine the lot's gonna start getting a lot more use. Is it lit properly? Are there other things that need to be done to it that we should?
I think we could look at how we can improve that lot, because, you know, now that we're generating occupancy over there, I think we could take a look and get a comprehensive improvement plan over there.
Okay.
And,
I do want to give a special call out to Brian and Zorak who worked in that was a great opportunity to, because you become a win-win. And get additional revenue, but understand that you know, construction activity is never always easy, right? And to be able to then negotiate out, you know, a resurfacing of the lot, you know, it's ultimately gonna be, you know, I think. We don't know how long we have it, right? But I think it's not a terribly large parcel, so you know, like, I suspect that we could have it for a while, and it could actually serve as a great, you know, feature to the NRBT, to other things. So having an improved, you know, without any added expense coming to the authority was pretty great.
That's great. That's terrific.
and then, thank you, Dennis, nice. I think that the East Norwalk overflow lot's another good story here too. This lot was put into operation because of the walk bridge and the East Norwalk train station improvements by DOT. The plan is for that to be the overflow lot for spaces that they take away in the future for those projects. So we're working on wayfinding signs from the train station to get to that lot. But in the meantime, we ran into, I heard some parking issues with the Vox Church that is across the street here of East Avenue. I talked to the CFO last week just to kind of get an idea of when their masses are and how many, you know, who's attending, if he's heard any issues with parking. Because they don't have a very large parking lot. So we were talking about across the street, and he actually brought up the idea to rent spaces from us. I mean, I was going to offer that, like, hey, listen, we can rent spaces on Sundays for your parishioners. So we have an agreement in place, started last Friday for Sunday, of course, but they have two. Let me back up. They have two masses on Sunday, one at 9, one at 11. So we're renting 20 spaces to Vox Church from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Sundays. They were very happy. I checked in on him on Monday. He said everything went well. He has volunteers that are helping people shift from parking elsewhere into that overflow lot so they can utilize that.
That's about half the lot, it's like.
It is.
Yeah.
It is a 40 space lot, correct? So it's a really good story to tell on just, you know, just the outreach that, you know, we have, including Laz, and just kind of getting with the businesses or the religious church to work on other parking solutions that, you know, they must have other churches, other municipalities, and they do very similar things elsewhere. So he was very happy with what we came.
I'm just curious, it's a really busy spot. Is there a crosswalk there?
I was just,
It's up a little north, and there's one south of it as well.
Because coming out of exit 16, if you're coming north,
It gets,
You know, it's right on
aggressive
red.
right there.
it's really
Yeah.
flying. I'm just making an
And
observation.
there's a new one,
There's one to the intersection to the north and then another into the intersection to the south. We are encouraging them to use the intersection and not cross mid-block. But, you know, we wouldn't be installing a mid-block crosswalk.
yeah,
And I have one more operational update for the lot.
I think also think it's important to note for that lot. So, you know, there's gonna be times that there's empty, because a lot it's not owned by us. It was not transferred to us. It is DOT property that they have for an obligation for our permitted users that have a place. So we can't provide additional permits for that, so we allow it to be a transient lot. Understanding that, you know, the permits become the priority users when it's available, and it's just, you know, and so, yes, there'll be times that it's not utilized heavily, but when it's utilized, it's, it's got, and that's, we're not paying for it. We haven't paid for any of the restoration. We haven't paid for any of the upkeep. It's all paid for by Condot as part of that agreement.
Excellent.
And then this final update about the Sono train station lot. We lost the parking spots for the Spinnaker development down there. They started the remediation project. As you can see in the picture to the right, the fence line is right here. It's existing fence that's there. There's a little bit of digging that's happened since this picture, but these are the spaces that we lost. Now, a week before that we got notice about this, Rocky and his team went out and set up a little customer outreach tent where they were very proactive in informing all the customers who are usually parking here on other parking solutions to just plan ahead before they come in and say, hey, what's going on here? So they educated them. We're directing them to the garage at this point. Occupancy is, we got maybe 15-20% before the garage gets full. So we're good on occupancy there. But it's going well. We have signage, wayfinding signage out here on the fence and up on Monroe that is getting people to the entrance to the garage.
Excellent. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, that's one thing I will say. These guys are very proactive in getting out and letting people know, handing out flyers, information bulletins, just to get people ready. And, the worst thing that you can do is show up to a garage, like, where's my normal parking at? And they don't know where to go.
Right.
So it's good. We also did a social blast as well as posted the information on parkingnorwalk.org. So. And those are my operational updates.
Awesome. Thank you.
I wanted to share this with. There. Rocky gave each of you a hard copy of the financial.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to start, and I passed out the handouts for the operations report. For the month of September, we did good. We finished with a very substantial fund balance for the month, and I'm going to go through each line item that made this happen, and I'm gonna refer you back to go back to the pages, but I'll go Brian, if you go to page 4 of the operations report and the financials. So all those line items on the meter revenue for the month of revenue for the month of September, we outperformed, and that is mainly coming from meter bags being sold for all the construction area that came in through all in Wall Street area and in Sono area, and that's the outperformance, and it's resulted in 11.4% in meter revenue. And transient parking was down for the month. Was down, and we came under budget for the month, and that's mainly coming from the Maritime Garage and the Webster Lot, and the Maritime Aquarium reached out, and they're noticing also their industry is seeing a decline in attendance is a decline. Webster Lot is related to the movie theater not having enough customers coming in. All other facilities either were on budget or a little over budget, and the decline was only for Webster and Maritime. Now, on monthly revenue, on the monthly side of it, we're seeing more permit parkers coming in, and that shows, people coming back to work, and this is mainly seen in the train station garage and the train station parking lots. And as you can see, the permit is usage is increasing. Also, it's coupled with the addition of the YMCA lot, which was not budgeted when we prepared budget, so that also contributed to the high performance on permit. Parking violation almost on budget for the month. And then the taxes are, as budgeted, it hit the numbers.
Can I just add something real quick? With the monthly parking, what we have to, I've been looking at a lot of articles, a lot of social media being blasted that a lot of people are returning to work by January. So I think we really need to put our best foot forward with looking at rate structures and seeing how we can recommend a change in rate on permits and transient parking. just to account for the occupancy increases that we're seeing, especially with monthlies. Now with the taxes, just to get everyone on the same page, the parking authority absorbs all the parking taxes for transient and the metered revenue. We're going to November's board meeting, we're going to bring recommendations on new rates and also how we can bring recommendations on how we can shift the sales tax so we don't absorb the sales tax from here on out.
Excellent.
Right, so that resulted in the total revenue being, over budget by 0.2%. That's in the package also distributed. And on the other revenue line item, marketing and advertising, this revenue line item is showing a negative, that's under budget. Usually the revenue for the marketing and advertising comes towards the end of the year, and that's in our next year budget, we will actually budget it towards the, where we receive the revenue, so we don't see the variance on a month-to-month basis. ATM revenue was on budget. Lease income is under budget, as you can see it from here, and that is due to, I know, Brian, you're gonna go in detail on this one, but that is the loss on from the lobster craft, and then the vending machine revenue that happened in September, and the lobster craft and contract ended in September, August, and that's why we didn't receive their payment for that. And then the vending machines, I know Brian is gonna go into detail with it.
So with the lobster craft lease, we have some potential tenants that are interested in the space. We're just kind of working through some of the details with what they're asking and bring recommendations to the board when we get done. I'm hoping we have that on the agenda for next month, so we can really expedite this. And if sooner, maybe we could probably do a special meeting if it needs to be executed faster. I think that would be a good thing. Now with the vending machines, I'm gonna read this because the department's the name's long. We were approached by the Department of Aging and Disability Service Bureau of Education and Services for the Blind regarding the vending and food services at the South Norwalk train station. There's a Connecticut statute that allows this department to take over operations for vending and other food services and right to first refusal for anything that gets added. So if we want to rent out another space in any of our locations, we need to give them notice so they can bring it to their committee, see if they can operate effectively, or if they want to put vending machines. The parking authority doesn't need to have the vending machines, but it is a nice amenity that we provide. But as you can see, the variance there, that variance is going to be there because we planned on having that vending income for the entire year. We have now lost that.
So what is corp council?
Yeah, so legislation was adopted a very long time.
Okay.
Right, very, very long time ago.
Yeah.
Multiple decades, right?
Mhm.
Which gave this agency the right of first refusal for vending in public buildings. Public service buildings, right? So, we were not aware of it at the time. It had never been, I guess Norwalk was never on the radar before it became on the radar. And we did seek legal, we had to comply. So what, they also have the right of first refusal on retail space, and with the intent of, they could provide jobs for, individuals with disabilities in environments, that they deem successful. The department, however, though, is very small, and they don't often are able to respond to physically renting out space, so we have to get a waiver from them in order for us to lease out space. But what they do claim, and what they have written us a letter, is to claim the revenue from the vending machines.
So on the leases, if we get a waiver,
Then we can lease.
right, but so let's say the term of the lease is whatever, 5 years. and that person extends, do we not need to get another waiver or do we?
The only time you'll get a waiver is if they, if a tenant changes, so if a
So
new
it's-
lease is created, tenant changes, extensions wouldn't need to go back, it would cover under initial waiver of that spec, just if somebody else changes.
So on the vending machines, the revenue that will now go to them. Who supplies the machines and there's an expense there.
So,
It's not us.
we don't have any sense. So what happened was, we entered into agreement with a vending company. We asked for all new machines, as you'll recall, we wanted to
Yeah.
improve the aesthetics of the train station. Sometimes maybe have things look better, right? That company, we get a percentage, so that was a percentage of the sales. They provided the machines, they provided the service of filling machines, which is that you allowed them to get a percentage. Then we calculated that percentage that went to the authority, which was fairly decent for those vending machines that we have over there. So it's only that percentage that, the vending company will still do the same service. It's still their same machines that we advocated for. It's just the revenue, any supplement revenue won't come to the authority. It'll put it.
So now it's a relationship between the vendor and this organization.
That works out pretty well for them, obviously, it would seem to, anyway.
So it's every, train station up and down the line.
And it's very clean, they have,
Do they
Every
share-
federal, every state, and every municipal building.
yeah, it's very clean.
And so this excludes. I'm sorry, I'm unclear about the status of our lease then with Black by Demand.
So they provided a waiver for Black by Demand, allowing
Okay.
that one to continue to operate, and Brian did get a waiver.
We got a waiver for the lobster craft area.
Okay,
That's why, I don't wanna say it's been delayed, it was delayed because of that, so just getting the tenants. Having them have the patience that they had to while we went through this process, that's why I'm trying to get this through by the next.
And the fashion school is not affected because they're not vending.
They're not vending your food services.
I just want to also point out what we talked about, it says, so Brian's looking at, 2 leases that will present to the board most likely next month, right? That will go. I just really want to talk about the decision that we made to go to a property manager versus trying to do this in-house, right? We've moved this to a property manager, we've gotten quality tenants. We've gotten, multiple responses, to fill spaces in relatively short time. Without, and now there's someone that they can contact with issues, right? So it doesn't put all the management, so. It's been I think it's a massively great win for the decision we made to do.
Who owns the train, the building? The city,
City,
both sides?
yep,
and so it's still, I think, Houlihan Lawrence, right? Is that it? Is that,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, okay, good. Fair.
Most other train stations are owned by Metro North. Outside of Norwalk.
So, I believe Fairfield owns theirs. Stanford Stanford was owned by the city, and the city transferred it to Metro North. A number of years ago, New Haven's station is owned by Condot. And not Metro North, they said that Condot, the Stanford Transit to Condot, but New Haven station is owned by Condot, but leased and managed by the city of New Haven. Right, so that one's kind of like in a little bit.
And Greenwich is private.
And West Haven is, so yes, most of them are the state. There are separate, I think we are lucky to have ours, there, and I also think that. Ours is looking like it's in pretty good shape. I think we will need to look at the original train station, and I think, Brian and I have a list to see what we find for historical restoration, because it is an older one, and how we could do, and I think we talked about me not being a terrible fan of the yellow and the inside. But I think first is the bathrooms that need to get addressed.
Before we step up, I just want to clarify too. So the revenue that we've already earned or we've booked as earned, does that all get transferred to this organization? It's just a go forward? Okay. And so do we know, because we did spend a little bit of money to fix up the areas and transit and like take away the MTA booths when MTA left. Did we, prior to this, did we at least cover our, okay, all right.
Yes.
Fair enough.
It was a lucrative deal for us to do that.
That's,
In
yeah,
terms of
it
that,
made sense when we,
Right?
Yeah.
I do, and, I think we need to look at how we go forward, right? What the spaces mean, right? And it may mean that we change the look of the operation again, right? And, is there an ability to have that Metro North ticket station that we converted into that? Maybe we have less machines, but we have another service that's provided there, right? That one's kind of hard because it's competing with something on the other side, but I think I think we're gonna put forward a good complement to what we see on the new development side.
Yeah,
great.
excellent.
And I was the revenue, so we go on the expense side, in the package, expenses were below budget of 5.9%, and that saving is coming mainly from the payroll savings, operating expenses, and some building repair and maintenance. These are the savings that, major savings that contributed that, the reduction, the underperformance and budget, which is a positive for us, that resulted in our 46% fund balance. Now, these on the financial package that you have these highlighted items are in the variance report. It's in page 3 of the package that I distributed. So operating expenses are under budget due to preparation of the budget. We anticipated the consulting fees to be paid out, our operating expenses, consulting fees for Dixon, THA, and Desmond, and we haven't received those expenses. So when those come in, it will hit the operating expense. Signages, we went over budget for the month, and this is for the improved upgrade signages that went into the Wall Street area and all the other signages. And as you can see, the improved signages have helped in customer experience and improved compliance in the Wall Street area. So that as the coming months come in, we're going to see more of the expenses, the signage expenses coming in. So we might be over budget by year to date, but that's contributing to a better experience towards customers. Ticket expense, we budgeted for the full year, and we were running low on the tickets, so we purchased that, and the invoice came in September. That you're seeing a huge difference in the ticket expense line item. Building repair and maintenance for the month are under budget, and due to this is due to when we prepared this budget preparation, we anticipated over the overhead gates, train station, garage, and maritime. We anticipated more repair and maintenance on those. It has not happened, and that's why we're seeing a major variance on repair and expenses. But these are expenses that we believe that it's going to come in, towards by the end of the fiscal year, because as those gates need to be replaced, they're getting too old. But major saving from those overhead gates not happening, and then also some electrical works that we anticipated that never happened. That resulted in under budget for the month.
And let me just add too on that, on Rocky's point about the overhead gates at the garage, South North Garage. We're looking for a few things. We're looking to upgrade the park system there. That will go with a newer overhead door that will be a high-speed door that will not cost as much on repairs, because the older doors, they do do cause, somewhat of a high expense for what it is. So we're looking to improve that along with our park system that we'll have in short order, hopefully very shortly.
Yeah.
Those
Those high-speed doors are awesome.
And the other line item was permit and violation management. This is purely an invoice that we never received from the one of our vendors. Vendor has been contacted and that expense will hit in the month of October financial statement.
So on the signage, are there others, if we're over now? Are there other signage projects coming that would worsen that, or is it, or it'll level out over time and the year will end the way we expect
Well,
it to?
Rocky, if these signs are the signs we ordered for the restriction, new restriction sign, yes?
Yeah, the restriction signs and will also be the updated signage for the relocation of the bus stations towards the westbound side of the South Norwalk train station. So half of that expense is also for that.
So the restriction signs that we're not, unless we have to order a couple here and there, but the big expense for that stuff.
Right, so that'll even out over time and we'll be
What
fine.
do you mean restrictions?
The updated parking restrictions, the new signs we did over Wall Street.
okay. Parking hours.
Yeah,
Okay.
regulations, sorry. I want to say restrictions, just big regulations.
I think that the bus one was just not one that we just did this way, like I think as the project unfolded and we started to see the degree of remediation and what they were gonna be taking out, we quickly realized that we can't continue bus operations on that side of the station and actually have, all that activity. So we worked an agreement where we moved it to State Street. And so bus operation is actually working very efficiently on State Street. But we wanted to make sure that the customers had ample, notice and that, so there's a fair amount of signage that we didn't anticipate from that move, but I think we're learning as we go, just when we had proposed a roundabout, right? And then we said, well, the buses won't fit in the roundabout, right? So that's a little bit of a problem, and your car doesn't turn in it because it's not the right size. And if we were to make it right size, we would have lost 60 additional parking spaces, right? So, I think we're just dealing with some plans that were presented that were fully vetted and I think we'll continue to come across, but I think the issue is at the end of the day, the potential overage in signage is more than paying for itself in user experiences, right? People didn't have any issue with taking the bus. We partnered with Norwalk Transit District and in notifying, LAS played a pivotal role in moving those people over. The new signage that we piloted, here in Wall Street is paying dividends in the fact that, we are seeing better compliance to parking. We're not hearing the level of complaints on that we saw before. And then it looks better, right? It's now there's consistent, we know we have one design, the other one was like, this was this kind of sign and that kind of sign and this color green and that, it looks tired, right? And we've contracted with someone to help us work through the design guide that we created. We tried to create it in-house. We want to formalize it from what we learned. But it's also going to give the instructions so that the sign team, we don't have a dedicated sign team that works for the city, so we have to kind of borrow people from DPW. So it might be you one day, it might be you the next day, it might be you the day after, right? So we looking for the manual to make sure that the signs are placed consistently and that, the height is consistent throughout and how to do that. So I think those will all pay off in the long run.
Yeah, good.
And the rest of the slides, they talk about, each revenue line item. I'll just any highlights that we have, I'll touch on those. system-wide transient activity. This compares the year-to-date, transient activity, and it is, 14.4% below, prior year. You can see from the trend, and we're seeing these, most of these, declines that we're noticing is coming from, the Maritime Garage and Webster Lot. Current payment wise, we're seeing, an increased credit card usage and also app usage, and bill and coin is, it is total system-wide transient revenue. It's coming, it's about 80%. So we push more of, the app usage and educate people using credit card, we will try to minimize that cash handling and reduce it into a smaller number.
So I think, I just want to go back to the transient, we are seeing the decrease in transient visits, right? So we are sharing this with the business development. For observations. And we did ask Rocky in our review of this week, is in the future reports that you see, that we're gonna have this broken down by area. So you'll see, what we're seeing in transient visits in Wall Street, in Washington, in West Avenue, so that we can see it. There is a big hit that we took from the Maritime, but we have been in contact with the Maritime. They're seeing a reduction, because the reality is they saw a massive increase of visits when nobody had to pay for it. So more people came, so we do expect some of that correlation, but we do want to keep an eye on where those are, and particularly as we talked about with the walk bridge and its impact to businesses. I think this is gonna be a good indicator. And then equally, as we start phase one of Wall Street and we start to through that, we hopefully will see this one on the uptick, right?
I'm gonna have a new neighbor next to my store. He's taking like 10,000 square feet.
That space with all the glass windows?
What's going in
Yeah.
there?
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah, it's gonna be pottery, and so it's an artistic place that you can go and just, if you wanted to learn how to make pottery. Or blown glass, they're gonna have kilns there, or fractured glass where they put glass in like a tray. Candles, to make candles. So in other words, instead of you taking a class like every Tuesday night for the next 8 weeks, you can just walk in, you can do it immediately. So you don't have to plan out. So it's mainly geared towards women and kids. And certainly Saturday and Sunday would be the busy days, and then some evenings. So it's tremendous.
I think it's great. And I
Tremendous.
love that.
Yeah, me too. So it's just excellent. I think it's just
Oh, I
such
hadn't
a
heard that.
positive thing. So, and then that's another reason, because they have a back entrance, a double door, that the Yankee Doodle can just feed right into that. And that is all, I occupied that, 30 years ago, but it was always a cut through for people. I don't know how it's going to evolve, how they're gonna run their business so much, but it would be great. I know we talked about the post office giving up a little alleyway next to the old meat market, the Jackson Hewitt. So you could get people from Yankee Doodle to cut through instead of walking around, which is a real turnoff, I think, for a lot of people. So in other words, that's another business that would have a real back door and a front door, so people maybe could access that. I'm not sure how that's gonna work out, but there's gonna be a tenant there. It's happening.
It's been years that's been empty, 5 years.
I would just say
Amazing.
one thing, and I'm not gonna steal your meeting, but you did bring up the walkway. So we've had a number of conversations with the post office. We solicited the assistance of Senator Blumenthal to contact the postmaster in Washington. We had some subsequent meetings with the team. We got a denial. We are tenacious, if nothing else, right? And we continued on, and we have a preliminary approval.
Great.
We have to respond to some of the things. We worked up an arrangement. We're not gonna do a land swap. We're gonna do easements. They felt more comfortable with that, but I was like, I think it just became easier on them, so we will have it, and it will include, we have the pathway that's gonna go through, so it will be incorporated as part of the.
That's excellent.
That's gonna be Amazing.
Yeah, that's huge.
And on permit side, we, as indicated earlier, we're seeing an increased permit demand, the train station facilities and also on Haviland deck. And that's gonna go up, especially the commuter lines, we're gonna, expecting usage to increase. As people, returning back to work, and we're monitoring capacity closely just to make sure that we don't run out of space. Using payment permit, revenue.
When we talked about that, when we were in the middle, remember one time, we're like, oh, we have to come up with a new payment strategy, right? We're back.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
We still believe, 22% of, cash payment in permit is high, so we're gonna work up with, especially with those, group permit holders that pay, check, the send check or, money order, so we're gonna work on that. We're trying, to improve that, cash handling on the permit side of it. On-street parking, we're seeing, the decline on transient, on-street transient activity. Here, and that's mainly coming from spaces being taken away by construction, and that's why you're seeing this decline in the past 3 months. Most of the on-street spaces have been taken by construction crew, and that activity level is seen over here and indicated in the revenue, as explaining the revenue side. The revenue is performing over budget and over prior year, and that's because, the majority of the payment is coming from meter bags. And we are being paid by construction crew for the whole day. So even though transient activity is down, you're seeing the revenue higher. That's because of revenue coming from the meter bags.
Has the walk bridge taken, all the spaces they're gonna take at the North Street? Something like,
And the
North Water Street,
And North Water lot.
Yeah.
They request, not on a daily basis, but on demand, and they actually pay for those block spaces.
but permanently taking, that's.
Permanently taken.
They're not gonna
yeah,
grow. They're not gonna-
So they may grow, like, we need 3 more tomorrow
Yeah,
or something,
yeah.
that, but they're not gonna grow past what they have.
Okay, all right.
Parking enforcement as indicated, transient activity declines, you're seeing the citation issuance, declining. Following trend. Violation collections, we did see a spike in the month of September, and this could be due to age balance, especially from the May and the May. June ticket issuance from the beach, coming in, with the late delinquent, so that contributed to site collection for months. This is ticket versus demand, as you can see, demand declining and ticket issuance is also declining, that's indicated in this graph.
So Struck, you're great at explaining why things are going up and down and so forth, but a lot of has to do with the location, obviously. Like what you're saying, Jim, about, Wall Street area, we might see an uptick, relatively sooner than later. But still, down by the walk bridge, it's gonna be, that's gonna be hit for many years. So it's tough to get a feeling for, when you throw it all into one bucket a little bit. I know it's a lot of work, but I guess we just give your synopsis, get your synopsis on why it is what it is.
Yeah, well, we're gonna try to do that and expand it to each of those individual areas so that you could look, because we recognize that it will, it's a change, right? So the changing world in that aspect. So you'll see that in the next report.
We're actively trying to reformat how this is presented. Gotten great feedback from some of the commissioners on that, and then we're gonna incorporate some of those changes into that. So, maybe activity is how we track. Maybe activity is something we kind of focus on to see how well the neighborhood's performing instead of the revenue. Because as you can see, the revenue's higher at some of these locations because the construction's taking over a big percentage of the space.
Transient activity is down, but it's down because of construction, but
Right.
maybe it's up somewhere else and.
Correct. Right, and then, having to be able to break down per neighborhood or per location, we'll be able to see that a little bit better. We'll be able to show that to the commission a little bit clearer.
The data's there, right? It's just you
7%.
recrafting it.
last, pay by sale, again, with this one, we here then next month, report, you'll see the usage per location, per region, per Wall Street and obsolete areas, and we'll present that in the next month budget, but pay by sale is, for the first time, it's down, 0.8%. And we're tracking that and we'll report it, location by location to see the true effect of whether it's construction, like CP, or is it actually at the level. With that.
Thank you. The old business.
Okay, so, been since August that the commission approved a regulation change and sign upgrades that we did at Wall Street. Just wanted to get a quick update. West Avenue is completed, the signs are installed, the meters are updated, the, Park Mobile's updated. So everything is representing the 9 to 9 in West Ave. We're working on how we're going to approach Sono now, because we wanna make sure that we get the meters program and then get it in a setup way so we can properly get the signs changed and the regulations for the meters all in one time, so we can get it all updated in a short order. Now, I ran into a problem, and I want to express this to you. Those Park Mobile signs that you can see on this picture here, that's what we want. There's been a delay in getting some of the those signs for South Norwalk, because we don't have these signs in South Norwalk. Those are the signs that are replacing those 3 ways to pay signs. So we're working on our agreement with Park Mobile now, should be pretty much done. Hopefully by Monday, so we'll get those signs. I can't imagine, Rocky's informed me that those signs come in pretty quickly anyway. So once we get those signs, we can get them looking nice and sharp down in South Norwalk. I don't want South Norwalk to have those 3-way to pay signs. I think they're just really ugly. We can change the regulation sign and the street cleaning and snow cleaning restrictions during that time, but we're still gonna have that 3 ways to pay, and I'm trying to avoid doing that, so. It should be done in the next couple weeks. And then once, sorry, go ahead. Peter.
No, I just saw that, excuse me, it's probably got nothing to do with your department and what you're doing, but what happens if you see a street sweeper out like 9 o'clock in the morning or 8:30 in the morning, or, but like rush hour type thing, and he's right where everybody's, because I live, over at the end of Woodward and going through right past the Maritime Center every morning, and you see the guy there backing up traffic, and so they're supposed to be in by 8 o'clock, they're supposed to be done, that's what that sign says, right?
So they're different,
Different signs for different
So
locations.
they're different times for different locations, because they can't get the whole entire city done, we get the notification from DPW that says, this is the time that we're gonna do this area, this is the time that we're gonna do that area. And that, so I do think that they have to crew out for the large part of the day. If there's an issue of, that they're in a particular area at rush hours, it's creating.
It's not a big delay, it's not a big delay, it's not an earth shattering thing, but I just happened to see that sign, so I just kind of thought of it.
No, so they're really dependent on, a schedule that they have to make sure that they're hitting all the neighborhoods, and then some issues like because. We have 123 or 136 over there, more industrial picks up, on Meadow, a lot of dust, so that area is hit daily, so, I think they try to.
I'm more like right in front of the Maritime Center, which is a
Okay.
bottleneck anyway. And people are, at that time in the morning, they're only going to work. There's nobody going to the Maritime Center. I'm sure it's not open. But it's just like the guy on the street sweeper has got to see the 20 cars behind him. So,
Is that a city street sweeper
gotta
or?
be.
Well, no, because we do have a requirement for,
North of Walk Bridge.
because Walk Bridge is creating you know, Walkbridge creates, you know.
Oh, it's all dirt.
There are a lot of moving things, so we require them to do daily,
Not a-
multiple sweeps a day.
And probably not 20 cars, I probably exaggerated, but it's, you know. It's not. a
It's
big
just
deal.
you.
It's not- just me.
I'm kidding, I'm kidding.
I can have a conversation with Stephanie, because pay attention to the time.
If I
That's
speak-
over there, that's mostly related to the walk bridge, because I know that we have requirements for them to do, you know, multiple sweeps of the street. Because they're creating quite a dust.
And just once all these signs are updated, and we're happy with how they look, that's when we're going to upload the 15-minute free option citywide.
You know what I was gonna ask soon.
Listen, I wanted to address that because
On the app.
I know there's, yeah, it's only on the multimeters for right now.
Right,
But we are working with local businesses. You know, as, you know, we were on West Avenue the other day and we just stopped by a barbershop, talked to them about their 15-minute spots, and they were really excited, and just the outreach that Rocky, his team I have with what we're doing, it's helping. And also trying to give them solutions on how to deal with some of their customer outreach. We should probably hand
It's,
out
it's
flyers.
tough, you've heard me say the same thing, I'm just gonna say it really quick. My customers come from outside of Norwalk,
Mhm.
they don't know Norwalk at all, they're probably not seeing it. And I've had them pull me out of my store and they go, where does it say for free 15 minutes? And I show them and I do it with them and they get it and they see it. But they're like, Peter, you see I said, I got you. I'm just telling you, anyway, enough.
No, it's important feedback, and it's things we want to make sure that we help a business be successful. Like, perfect example is how, and I'll always bring up Greer, because when you go in there, you'll see that she has little cards on how to park, in case you go there and the customer might say, hey, you know, did you guys park? And she hands her a card that has the Park Mobile, QR code on it, so they go in and they can validate or. sorry,
So
pay
I'll
for
go
parking.
over and I'll shoot you a text. I'll go over to, you know, somebody completely different than me. I'll go see Gail Laguerre, Fairfield County Savings, one on Wall Street, right across the street, which would be a perfect scenario, I think, for
Mhm.
somebody stopping in for free 15 minutes and making a deposit or what have you. I'll see what she says.
And maybe get some posters posted in the, maybe in some of their lobbies, like we have in the corner over there, just giving them some type of space that they can give us to promote.
Yeah, I
Okay,
still
that's
think
great.
it's, the pay station is the number one place for it to be. You know,
Sabrina could probably get to visit Norwalk folks, Todd Killenbox. The marketing company that does.
So, yeah, I think we could look at what we could do for once we're citywide to get what, and then you part on the Norwalk thing. I think from a sign perspective, we really wanna, we wanna reduce the sign pollution, and I think the reality is, and I have, I have a million stories to go back for, like, we often try to fix a situation by throwing another sign up, and my favorite example is in Sanford, we had the worst intersection that was passed on through every study. It had, and people didn't feel well about doing that, and our solution was, like, I removed like 20-something signs from the intersection, because we tried to fix it. We removed everything, I put a blank out sign, and instantly, we reduced our crashes significantly. Because as a driver, you're trying to like, what, I can finish that, and then because that, the pedestrians didn't feel comfortable, right? So we actually had reduced pedestrian crashes by just simply reducing the clutter. And then it looks better, and I think we're spending a lot of time doing that, but that doesn't mean that we can't do a better job. We should look at how we, promote that. I think our need to promote it is when it's fully, rolled out in the city, that way we could do a big blast, and I think that's when we do another presser, and, we say that, we move this forward, and.
it's a great, to press the button, it's great, no question. I just want the customer to know it's there.
Yeah, and we have to promote it more, like, and I think we need to provide materials for the businesses that they can have it and they can do. I use it all the time too. I stop in and get coffee, and it's the greatest thing, boom, and I'm at 2 seconds and I'm done, right?
Yeah,
Good. Okay, if there's no further on that, or anything else to bring up, we can have a motion to adjourn.
motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Peter.
second.
Thank you, Judd. All in favor? Aye. We're good. Thank you.
Thanks.
I was worried that the judge's not saying, eh.